This is page 116 in your math journal. We're going to call this one percent review. Okay, first thing I want you to remember is that percent is just a ratio compared to 100. So percent means out of 100. So like 92% would just mean 92 out of 100. Okay, I want to review what it's like to go from percent to a decimal. Okay, percent to decimal. Let's see, we have 3.6. Remember that the percent with the percent sign always appears bigger than its decimal form. So we're going to move the decimal back 2 places. So that would mean that the decimal form would be 0.036. If we have 122%, then that's the same as 1.22. The decimal is right here and we move it back 1, 2. Okay, so decimal form is always smaller than the percent form. Sometimes you're going to need to go from percent to fraction. So example, let's say you have 16%. That is the same as 16 out of 100. So 16 out of 100 would be, we can reduce that and it would reduce to 4 over 25. Sometimes we might have something a little more difficult than that. Maybe we have 3.2%. Okay, sometimes it's helpful to change that to a decimal first, so I'm going to change this to 0.032. Now look at what place value we're in, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. That means that's the same as 32 over 1,000. Okay, reduce that. Well, I know that 4 goes into both of them, so I'm going to divide by 4. And that's going to leave me with 8 over 250. Still can reduce again by 2, so 8 over 250. Divide both the top and bottom by 2 to reduce it more. That gives me 4 over 125. That would be my final answer because there's nothing else that goes into both of those. Okay, so quick reminder on how to do those. Now if you have a fraction to a percent, so let's say you have that's right, fraction to percent. Let's say we have the fraction 5/8. Okay, that means 5 divided by 8. And I didn't leave myself much room to write my answers up there, so I'm going to squeeze that in there. 8 goes into 5 0 times. So decimal point, and x is 0. 8 goes into 50. 6 times. 6 times 8 is 48. That leaves me with 2 and x another 0. 8 goes into 20. 8 goes into 23 times. 3 times 8 is, 2 times, I was thinking 6. 2 times 8 is 16. Minus 16 gives me 4. And x another 0. Keep going till it either repeats or ends. 8 goes into 40. 5 times evenly. Minus 40 leaves me with 0. So I end up with the decimal 0.625, which move the decimal 1 2 places, and that would be 62.5%. So if you need to write your fraction as a percent, it's easiest to turn it into a decimal and then make it a percent. Okay, I want to remind you of our percent equation. Of all the things on here, this is one thing I want you to absolutely have memorized. So percent equation. Whole times percent equals part. Okay, remember multiplication is of, is equals. Okay, I'm going to put that in little squigglies here. Okay, so percent equation is going to help us whenever we're after percent of a number. So let's do a couple of examples. What percent, or no, what is 28% of 70? Let's also do 62 is what percent of 80? Okay, if we plug it in our percent equation, what is, that means I'm looking for the part. What is? So of 70, 70 is the whole, 70 times the percent. Excuse me, but it needs to be in its decimal form. So whole times percent, so 0.28. And just to speed it up, I'm going to tell you that it would be 19.6, but you know how to multiply decimals. Okay, so my answer would be 19.6. That is 28% of 70. Okay, 62 is what percent of 80? I'm going to take and fill in 80 as the whole, because it says of 80, times the percent. I don't know that, so I'm going to use a variable or just a percent sign, equals 62. 62 is the part. Now, I need to get the percent by itself, so I'm going to divide by 80. That means I need to divide this by 80. There's your part over a whole. Now when I divide this out, I get that the percent is equal to 0.775. But remember, this is in its decimal form. So that means my final answer is 77.5%. Okay, let's draw a little separating line here. Okay, let's do a story problem. Try to make it pretty simple here. How about Joe bought a bat for 35% off. I want you to underline that word, off, the original price. He paid $39. What was the original price? I don't know how I capitalize that. What was the original price? Okay, well, first thing you need to know is this word off. That means something was subtracted. Okay, 35% was taken off. I want you to remember that 100% equals one whole unit. So, 100% would be the whole price. So if I'm taking 35% off of that, I'm going to do 100 minus 35 to see what percent is remaining. And that would be 65. So 65% is remaining. Now that I have that, there's my percent. 39 is my part. It's part of the original price, not the full price. So whole, I don't know, I'm looking for the original price, times percent as a decimal, so 0.65 equals 39. Okay, to undo that, I'm going to divide by 0.65, but I have to divide this by 0.65. Okay, to save us some time, I'm going to tell you that whole is 60, so that means that the original price was $60. Let's draw another line here, separate one more problem. Alright, how about this one? A phone is on sale for 80% off. No, not off, sorry. 80% of, scroll that out, of, I want you to underline of the original price. The sale price is $240. So what's the original price? Because this says of means multiplying. 80% of. Off, we subtracted. There's other words that off would be like reduced or discount. All those words means I'm subtracting and taking it away. This one of just means I'm multiplying. So I have the sale price, which is the part, so 240. I don't know the whole price or the original, and I know the percent. It's just going to be 0.8. So when I divide by 0.8 to get the original price by itself, I end up with 300. So that means the original phone costs $300 on its own.